Good evening. Welcome to the December 7th, 2020 Truckee Meadows Regional Planning Commission meeting. Let's start with a roll call, please.
David Blako.
Present.
Francine Donchik.
Present.
Kathleen Taylor.
Here.
Larry Chesney.
Present.
Mark Johnson.
Present.
Peter Gower.
Here.
Sarah Chavilicek.
Here.
Scott Carey.
Present.
And Shelley Reed.
Here. Thank you. Can we go ahead and provide the call-in information for public comment?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. This is Jeremy Smith, Director of Regional Planning. For the record, I'm just going to read a quick announcement disclaimer. Then Damian Kerwin's going to show us how to use the public comment card. So good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Due to the social distancing requirements enacted in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, Regional Planning Commission meetings will be hosted in this virtual setting until further notice. The safety of regional residents, employees, and elected officials are important to us, and we appreciate your patience as we journey through this virtual meeting together. Regional Planning uses Zoom, a third-party app, for its virtual meetings and does not control its technical specifications or requirements. Your ability to participate in public comment during this meeting may be impacted by factors like the type of device you use, the strength of your internet or cellular signal, and the company that provides your internet or cellular service. Team RPA is not responsible if you are not able to participate in a meeting through Zoom due to these or any other factors. For those watching and listening from home, there are two opportunities to give general public comment. Those are towards the beginning and end of the meeting agenda, and you can also opt to give public comment on a specific item. In order to participate in public comment, you must access the teamrpa.org homepage and click on the digital public comment card button. There you can choose the item you wish to speak on. Once submitted, you'll be given instructions on how to join the Zoom meeting in progress and instructions for how public comment will be administered. When you're called on to speak for public comment, state your name for the record and begin speaking. The timer will begin when you say your name, and you will have 3 minutes. Please remember, any comments or questions cannot be addressed or answered by the commission if the topics have not been agendized. Any person who disrupts the meeting to the extent that it is disorderly conduct will be removed from the meeting. Okay, thanks for listening to that. And now if Damian Kerwin, you could please give us a demo of how to use the digital public comment card.
All right, no problem. Thank you, Jeremy. For the record, Damian Kerwin, GIS Planning Analyst with Team RPA. I'm just briefly going to share my screen and show how folks can leave a public comment as desired. Okay, can everyone see my screen okay? All right, so you'll simply just go to teamrpa.org and you'll see right here on our homepage some nice text right on the front. Click here to access the digital public comment card. It should take you to it. And then you can just simply fill out your name. It could be Han Solo for the evening. And then you just provide an email address. And then you will choose the item that you want to speak on. And if you're going to be using video or phone to call in for the meeting, because you can use both. In either instance, you have to provide your phone number. And then you simply will hit submit after you've provided all the information. And for some reason, something's not working. Oh, because my phone number was not in there correctly, probably. There we go. And then it will give you all the information to join the Zoom webinar meeting right here with a link, or if you want to call in, and the information will also be emailed to you and to us. So we'll get a notification when you've submitted public comment. And there's just a nice reminder that if you want to comment on another item, you have to go back through and fill this out again for the different item you would like to speak on. And that's it. Simple as that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Jeremy.
Thanks,
No worries.
Jeremy, what was that?
Oh, I said thank you, Damian. That
Oh,
was
okay.
No worries.
I didn't mean to jump the gun on you.
Okay.
Next we have salute to the flag. Jeremy, can you go ahead and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and all of us will mute.
Absolutely. We'll mute all and I'll share my screen. Okay. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next is approval of the agenda.
Chair
Madam
Reed,
Chair, go ahead.
this is Commissioner Trelcheck, move to approve.
Thank you.
Commissioner Garrell, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Chivilicek and a second by Commissioner Gower. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have public comment. Do we have anybody waiting for public comment?
We do not have any for this item.
All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment and open it up to approval of the minutes of the November 12th, 2020 meeting.
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Donchik. I move to approve.
Thank you.
Mr. Chesney, second.
Okay, I think Chesney got you first. So we have
Sorry, Peter.
we have a motion by Commissioner Donchik and a second by Commissioner Chesney. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose? Motion,
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Taylor. I need to abstain.
okay. Motion passes with the Commissioner Taylor abstaining. Item 6 is business of the day, starting with 6A, which is a discussion of the 2020 Integrated Source Water and Watershed Protection Plan. Director Smith.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate that. This is Jeremy Smith for the record. We have item 6A for possible action, a presentation, discussion, and a possible direction to staff regarding the 2020 Integrated Source Water and 319H Watershed Protection Plan for public water systems in the Truckee River in the Truckee Meadows. And we're really pleased to have some guests today that are going to be talking about the project that we've been assisting with from the Nevada Department of Environmental Protection. We have Birgit, sorry if I say your last name right, Birgit Weidgren, is that correct? You're still muted.
I was muted in two places.
No worries.
It's Birgit Whittegren, but Jeremy, you said my
Whittegren.
first name right, so.
Okay, well, that's half the battle. Anyway. Thank you.
Right.
We're also joined by Kim Rigdon, who's also from NDP, and we have Jill Sutherland, who is from Resource Concepts, Inc. They've been working collaboratively, or we've been working collaboratively with them to develop this source water protection program for Washoe County. Is Lynn's not coming tonight? She won't be joining us?
Lynn couldn't make it tonight, or she might be
Okay, no
joining
worries.
us later.
Okay, sounds good. So Lynn Zong's also been a big player in helping us to get to where we're at today. But without further ado, I will pass it over to these ladies to take us through their presentation of the source water protection program we've been working on.
Yeah. And if you could share your screen with me, Jeremy, or if I can share my screen.
You should be able to share your screen.
Okay, go in there right now. There we go.
Okay, I'm seeing your presentation.
Great.
Fantastic. I'll go ahead and start for our team. And I just wanted to say thank you, Jeremy, for your introduction, and good evening, honorary members of the board. It's exciting to see a bunch of familiar faces tonight that we have been coordinating with over the last 3 years. For the record, I'm Kim Rigdon with the Source Water. I'm the Source Water Protection Coordinator for NDP in the Bureau of Safe Drinking Water. And I've had the sincere pleasure of working with TMRPA staff over the past few years. And I have to say the commitment to this planning effort and protecting the community's drinking water in collaboration with a comprehensive team, as you can see on the slide, is very impressive for the regional community there. So we're super excited to be presenting this to you today. NDEP is getting recognition for this effort. We're just so excited about it. So it's hard not to be super excited and ready to go. Some of you may recall our planning team presented to the TMRPA Governing Board in 2017 to ask for the agency's support to work with your staff and the other community agencies and stakeholders to develop the comprehensive approach to protecting the drinking water supplies in the community and the associated watersheds in the Truckee Meadows. So we're excited to show the board what we've accomplished since that time, working together. As you saw, Birgit Whittegren with the Bureau of Water Quality Planning at NDEP is also on this video meeting, and she'll be speaking at the end of the presentation. And I just wanted to say that we both actively participated in this planning effort over the last 3 or 4 years, and we completely support community acceptance of this plan. And NDEP has reviewed it and is not only in full support of it, but excited about the outcome. So we've asked our state contracted technical assistance firm, Resource Concepts, Inc., Jill Sutherland is on the line, to present the plan to you today. I have to say RCI not only has worked with the TMRPA staff to develop this accessible online and map-based plan and tool, but they have worked closely with all of our stakeholders. They have essentially facilitated this entire process, brought all these stakeholders together. And it's impressive what these ladies have accomplished. So I'm super excited to hand the time over to Jill so she can show you the tool and what has been done. Jill?
Thanks very much, Kim. So we really enjoyed working with the TMRPA staff on this, and they really did the heavy lifting on developing this sort of a web-based planning presentation all throughout the 3 years that we were working on this to make the mapping and the data accessible, to all the different stakeholders throughout the county. So without much further ado, let's go to the recently released web page. That's the landing page for this effort. So WashoeCountyCleanWater.org is up, and we're hoping that we can make this available to other folks to put on their websites, and that way they can point to this multi-jurisdictional plan. And it really looks at source water protection and non-point source management, stormwater, etc., on a watershed basis. I hope you can dig into this website. I won't go into it too much for you tonight, but it gives an overview of the plan, a lot of links to background documents and educational information, sort of an overview of the content of the plan. And it's
Jill,
lovely.
Jill, are you trying to show the website right now? Because unfortunately, we're still seeing your slide.
Oh, are you saying? Let me.
You may have to unshare and then reshare your screen to show the web portion.
Yes, you're exactly right. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Let's try that. The landing page.
Working.
As you can see by our meeting tonight, without the technical assistance of the staff there at TMRPA, we would have been lost. But they did a fabulous job. And so I was kind of scrolling through this briefly. I'll do it again just kind of quickly, and then we'll really get into the meat of it, the web map tool. Overview, a lot of educational links and background information here, a discussion of the content, and links also to some of our partners and stakeholders in this effort, because they all have different pieces of this planning effort that they hope to that they have on their websites, and hopefully they'll use this website to point to that. But going to the web map tool, let's just click right into the program overview. You get a program overview. It's about a 4-page document that kind of walks you through the planning process, who is involved, and what the outcomes are. It's kind of annoying to scroll through, but it's got a ton of links to all the resources that were used in this planning effort. And then really the meat of it is the source water and watershed protection web map, which if you click on it, you can also get to this directly from the website, of course. And you walk into this page. It's open to the public, not password protection, and you end up here. And so just a quick overview on some of the layers that we have here. In terms of watershed management and non-point source planning, the area we focused on with the plan is the Truckee River watershed through the Truckee Meadows, which you can see outlined here. And then in addition, there are source water protection areas, and the team came up with 2 different levels of source water protection area. There's a broader general level of source water protection, and then there are critical source water protection areas, which you see here. Which are really around Tumwa and other public water systems wellheads, and provide some modeled areas of where source water protection might be the most critical. So what we want to look at, and the tool is fantastic that we have here. I'm just going to click to a different screen. Hopefully it'll show up here. Just kind of a zoomed in view. Within the web map, you can see we can also pull up individual parcels, and we can pull up individual parcels. Something that really had a lot of interest was parcels with septic systems, and given some of the source water concerns in the county. And it's kind of nice. You can go up here and type in an address, and it'll take you to that address. Hopefully it'll be pretty quick here. And it'll kind of zoom you in there, and it will let people know, you know, if their property is in a source water protection area, what it might be near, and that sort of thing. It's a little slow because we have the parcel data in there. But you can kind of see where we're at. And then in addition, additional layer that was asked for by several of the folks was parcels with domestic wells. So you can kind of see, even though this effort primarily focuses on public water systems, this also provides a good overview of what's going on. So there we can kind of see what's going on there. So if we go back to sort of the overall view, there's a lot of information once you get into the watersheds themselves. For example, when you, oops, I'm going backwards here, sorry folks. These watersheds are broken up into watersheds based on the HUC 12 boundaries, which is a USGS watershed area. So it's pretty uniform, and it's used for a lot of planning purposes at the national level. And when you click on a watershed, you pull up some basic information and more info. And more info will take you to the real meat of the planning document. For each watershed, there's a watershed profile. And this is probably a 15 to 16 page document. Pretty much very, very standard. There's some great mapping here of the base with the land use, which the TMRPA helped us out with. Let's see. when you go to, and that will be true of any of these watersheds. It has mappings, management strategies, potential contaminant sources, and just a great summary of what's going on in each of those watersheds. But of course, the source water protection areas kind of also fall outside the just the Truckee Meadows. And for these areas, we have a layer with groundwater basins shown. And you could click on any of these groundwater basins. For example, let's use Spanish Springs. And we should, maybe Spanish Springs isn't the best one. We can get also more info on this groundwater basin, and there's not a real surface water component or watershed management component to it, but there's some private water systems there, and it provides a similar type of summary description of what's going on in that groundwater basin in terms of public water system water supplies, water quality standards, water quality concerns, and the strategies you might use in that basin to protect and improve water quality, and then an overall summary of the stakeholders and plans that are pertinent to water quality in that basin. So let's go back here one more time. So once we have the strategies, the real outcome is what sort of projects and action items are you going to do based on the watershed profiles. If you click on this project profiles here, it pulls up, this is about a 140-page document. And basically we had input from many of the stakeholders on what they really want to do once as a result of this planning effort. The watershed profiles and source water protection profiles are intended to provide all the information you could ever need to apply for grant funding or through particularly the source water protection program or BRGIT's 319 non-point source program to help fund these projects. These projects are all voluntary. And so they can be, while some of them have a nice schedule, others, are out there for when somebody wants to pick them up and run with them. One that you're already familiar with that's also in here. Once you get, this is kind of the table of contents. You can click to one of the projects. This is one that One Truckee River has put forward, but it's also something that, the TMRPA and the Western Regional Water Commission are working on improving storm drain mapping, and basically provides kind of a general description of the project, specific details, an outline of the budget and schedule. Yeah, it's a little difficult to see on the format, but one should be able to take the format that's here and roll it straight into like the grant applications for BRGIT's program and that type of thing. So that really provides an overview of the meat of the website. We've got other great things in there. The Truckee River itself is shown. We have also on the map the irrigation ditches, which are critical to how water moves around in the Truckee Meadows, major roadways. What else? And then the city limits and that sort of thing, depending on how detailed you want to get and where you want to find yourself. And that's about all I had. And we will turn it back over to BRGIT if I can figure out how to stop sharing my screen and get back to the slide presentation. Okay. There we go.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jill. That was fantastic. For the record, my name is Birgit Whittegren. I'm with the Nevada Division of Environmental Protection, and I'd like to say good evening to all of the commissioners And I hope you're kind of excited about this planning effort. It has been several years in the making, and Jill presented the culmination of a multi-stakeholder plan to really look at water as a more comprehensive resource, not splitting everything into our regulatory silos, but looking at source water, drinking water, non-point source, and including stormwater in our planning. And I want to thank TMRPA for allowing us to come in and work with your staff. They are just fantastic and technically very agile. And we were able to subgrant with them with some 319 monies to help build this plan. And it will open up a lot of Clean Water Act money, 319 money, for the different stakeholders who want to implement these different projects. You saw those project profiles in the plan. In fact, our last grant funding opportunity, which just culminated, we had several projects that were already listed in this plan come forward, and I'm happy to say we funded 2 of them. So that's pretty exciting. I just wanted to thank you very much for all of the time, and especially the efforts of Jeremy Smith and Damian Kerwin. And we really look forward to what we can utilize this tool for to continue to build it. I also want to thank you for agreeing to house it and help us build this wonderful, beautiful website. It's just an exciting opportunity as someone who's been in water quality planning for over 25 years to see us finally moving toward digital online planning tools that are accessible by all the stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much for that presentation. That was great. And Damian, I just want to say, did the lion's share of that map work. So great job to Damian. At this point, I think it would be good to open it up for any questions that commissioners have they'd like to ask either Damian, myself, or the guests we have today.
I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. You know, I've seen the progress of this project for the past few years with the Stormwater Permit Coordinating Committee. And I've got to say, Birgit and Kim and RCI, I am so very excited to see what you guys have done. So much separate information and coordination. And I know you're struggling not only with agencies, you're struggling with other consulting firms doing work. And I got to say, you guys have done an amazing job. And I think the accumulation of this project shows, and it's very, very well done.
Thank you.
Commissioner Chesney, I also have a comment. This is amazing. There's so much. I can appreciate the work and the effort that's in this thing. And it just, I'm blown away that this project has been going on this long. And I just wish that there was a way that we could share this with the public in a more general sense so that they understand once and for all that their tax dollars aren't being wasted. I mean, they're being utilized in a tremendous way for the future of this community. And I just want to thank you all for the fantastic job that you've done.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Trelchuk. I do have just as early on in your presentation, you said that there might be ways to link it to other websites or such. And I don't know who to direct this question, if it's planning staff or not, but I work for Extension and we work a lot in these water quality, water quantity. So it'd be great to be able to link it on our Extension website as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner. We'll give you the URL, which I think is washocleanwater.org. What is it, Damian? Yeah, so it's
yes.
So we'll send you a working link, and yeah, please do link it. You know, what we're hoping, it's a voluntary program, but at least now there's digital access to the information. And I think our hope all along has been that this tool will empower planners and other members of our community, whether they're in the government or not, but to go search out this, search out this information. It's now there. So to Commissioner Chesney's point, I think trying to broadcast and share this through whatever channels we can, social media and that sort of thing, to get the word out that it's now available, that planners can start using it as they evaluate projects. Again, it's kind of an informational thing, but still a very important informational thing. And I think that over time, we've had discussions, I don't know exactly where this is right now, but about how this could help inform policies in the regional plan or possibly in the master plans of the local jurisdictions around source water protection and clean water protection.
This is Commissioner Trelchuk again. Jeremy, you bring up a really good point. So in terms of how will we be able to, we as in the greater we, be able to share this with developers and planners and such? So because on our respective local jurisdiction commissions and as well as on this commission, we often ask the question about water and access to water and clean water and protecting the resource. So if we have a tool that they can look towards prior to submitting their development plans, that would be extremely helpful, I think.
Can I make a comment on that? Kim Rigdon with NDP. I just wanted to say, you guys are talking, as you're talking about this, I think one of the things we didn't cover was the use of this by the other agencies. And one of the great outcomes of this is getting the planning departments of the different agencies to coordinate upfront with TUMWA, so that when they're developing in these source water protection areas or drinking water protection areas, TUMWA can be in on those discussions up front. And so that was kind of an exciting outcome too, was getting the water system involved in those conversations in a more efficient way. And having this tool provides that upfront education with the developers as they come in as well. So thank you.
Commissioner Carey, did you have a question or a comment? I saw your hand up a little while ago.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. And I think Kim just addressed it. I was just kind of curious how we as individual members of this board and with our respective jurisdictions might be able to use this tool when reviewing projects and looking at land use plans and changes and specific policies.
Any other questions or comments?
Madam Chair, I have a question. Just thinking about this, it's along the same lines of the questions and comments, but Jeremy and Damien, just thinking about how this relates to the policies in the regional plan. Are these source protection areas, are they synonymous with groundwater recharge or aquifer recharge areas that are mentioned in the regional plan that are required in the regional water management plan, or are we talking about different things here?
To my understanding, there's overlap, but it's not an exact one-for-one. And so I think, bringing Chris and the WRWC staff, I guess he is the WRWC staff now, up to speed. He's been in on this along the way as well. So he's aware of what's going on there. We're just now getting to, the consensus forecast spatial disaggregation. That work is happening, and we're going to inform RTC. The next step is moving to help WRWC with the regional water management plan update. And so one of the things that we can try to work in, I think, is now that this tool is available and that kind of analysis can be done, we can begin to reference it in the RWMP and see how those things, work towards that alignment that I think we're always trying to find.
And I appreciate that, Jeremy. And I guess the follow-up question to that is, does the regional plan, is it worthwhile considering updating or including source water protection in the regional plan? Because that particular phrase is not in the plan right now. We talk about aquifer recharge areas,
Correct.
But we don't specifically mention source water protection.
That's absolutely correct. And yeah, I think it is worth, certainly working towards an update of our natural resource policies, specifically around water, to include this work. They've been kind of, the regional plan update and this have been concurrent projects that we're aware of them, but it's tough sometimes to put it all together. But that would be the idea, and that was the idea from the get-go, as I understood it, was that we wanted to prop something up kind of like akin to what we want to do with our natural resources plan and our infrastructure investment plan. Get these pieces together in a way that can actually inform us, so that we can update or recraft or add in policies to the plan itself that are meaningful and based on something real and tangible like this effort.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. This data tool is amazing in identifying these areas and being able to put some boundaries around, what they look like, where they are, how they overlap, potential projects that are coming in. Having that tool, I think just that final piece of the puzzle is having it reinforced specifically into the regional plan. I think that would really make the connection.
Absolutely agree.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Of course. Any other questions, comments? Do we have an action on this? Do we need to have a motion?
Madam Chair, usually I think we just have a motion to accept the report.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I'm ready to make a motion.
go ahead, Commissioner Gower.
Thank you. I move to accept the 2020 Integrated Source Water and 319H Watershed Protection Plan for public water systems in the Truckee River and the Truckee Meadows, and that TMRPA continue to coordinate and maintain the online web map and keep up all the great work.
Commissioner Chesney, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gower and a second by Commissioner Chesney. Any discussion? Can we, let's not do a roll call vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
Great job, you guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great
Next,
job, Jeremy and Damien.
next we'll move on to item 6B, which is discussion and possible action to sponsor a regional plan amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Smith, for the record. Item 6B is discussion and possible action to sponsor a regional plan amendment to incorporate the 2020 Washoe County Consensus Forecast and remove the 2018 Washoe County Consensus Forecast from the regional plan. And so for that, we have Nate Kusha, I believe, will take us through this short little presentation. And then just as a FYI, he's probably going to say this, I'm just stealing his thunder. This is really just to get you to sponsor so we can get to the next item and actually incorporate it in. And in fact, just to remind you, at your last meeting, you did adopt the Washoe County Consensus Forecast.
All right. Good evening, commissioners. For the record, Nate Kusha, TMRPA. As mentioned, this item is for the sponsorship of a regional plan amendment regarding the 2020 Washoe County Consensus Forecast. So in order to have a regional plan amendment, it has to be sponsored by one of the bodies identified in NRS 278.0272 subsection 7. Those bodies include the Regional Planning Commission, the Regional Planning Governing Board, or a local governing body. The RPGB's regulations on procedure also identify the same sponsorship format. So the proposed amendment is to incorporate the 2020 Washoe County Consensus Forecast and remove the 2018 Washoe County Consensus Forecast, which will be presented in the following agenda item. Team RPA staff does recommend sponsoring the proposed amendment. So with that, motion is listed on the slide or on page 10 of the meeting packet. This does conclude my presentation, and myself or Team RPA staff are available for questions.
All righty then. Any questions for staff? Commissioner Carey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just curious, has all the staff in the region, have they agreed to the suitability factors which could affect where the population is allocated in this consensus forecast?
Hi, this is Director Smith to answer that question. The suitability factor analysis is still in play. we're working on number one, making sure we have the most up-to-date residential and non-residential employment, or rather modeling input layers. So we've gotten a lot of good feedback from both Reno and Sparks with regard to developments, like, for example, Five Ridges. That's one we've seen here at this body. And we've redone the GIS work to capture that future development in cahoots with staff like from the city of Sparks. And so, in fact, that part has been updated, but we're still in the midst of trying to settle on the specific parcel allocation. That's still going on. However, we have had many regional conversations over months to talk through the concept of the splits, the regional land designation splits, as we went over last time, and how those are going to get divided up kind of with a plus or minus by jurisdiction and based on the historical trends that we've seen. So we have agreement on the big picture, but we're still working towards agreement on the fine scale parcel selection by time.
Okay, so what we approved last month was basically a number, because I thought that the population was included by jurisdiction last. So we're still kind of trying to get more parcel and more localized data as where that's actually going to be.
That's exactly correct. So there's been a few changes, and that's basically based on the fact that we changed the regional plan. So we used to do this. We've done this very similarly in the past. We take the consensus forecast, which gives us basically the target populations for a geography, and they've previously been oriented around the jurisdictions and also the TOD and regional and downtown center geographies, which no longer exist in our regional plan. We have this new regional land designation, the new tiering system. And so there has been a bit of a switch that took a while to figure out, quite honestly, how we were going to approach that. We're going to model into each of the 5 tiers, including the rural area, the regional land designations. That's our new approach. But what that means is that as we go through and try to refine that suitability exercise, which really kind of indicates how does one parcel get selected before another, right? That's kind of what that's getting at. That's going to control inside, say, like tier 2, where the growth would occur and what would go first in that sort of thing. So that's the part we're trying to hone in on. Still, as part of a consensus building process, we're working with the staff, and we have files going back and forth and that kind of thing in meetings to talk through it. It's not settled yet, but it's on a good path. But the overarching targets have been settled, and the impact to how the jurisdictions might be affected by those targets has also been contemplated and agreed to. So that's what we were talking about last time when I said, because we're modeling into 5 land designation areas, those aren't synonymous with jurisdiction boundaries. There needs to be a little bit of wiggle room in terms of what that final 20-year outlook looks like by jurisdiction. So we're going to use the suitability tool, to get to that individual parcel selection. And we get to the end, we'll add it all up, overlay the jurisdiction boundaries, and make sure we're within the tolerance that we said we would be in for the jurisdictional growth.
And thank you for that. And one last question, Madam Chair, if I may. Okay, so that makes sense, and I appreciate that explanation.
Yeah.
Is this, if we haven't settled on the specific parcel by parcel and localized data and where that number that we agreed to when this thing was approved, we haven't landed on that yet. Is this regional plan amendment premature? Is it better to work that out, or can we proceed as you've outlined tonight?
I believe we can proceed because this is, in fact, it's a new requirement of the 2019 plan that the consensus forecast lives in the regional plan at all. And we did that because we wanted to centralize the information. And so typically the process would have ended last month. Yeah. And we would have adopted the consensus forecast as you did, and then it would have been on our website, and that would have been the end. And we still would have had to go through this spatial disaggregation process using those targets. So it's effectively exactly the same with the slight change in methodology based on the geography change. But the difference is that for the convenience of the user, really, we want to put it in the regional plan, and we want to have the up-to-date targets and forecast in the plan itself. But the spatial disaggregation will pretty much lives outside. It's available, for folks when we get it done, but it's never been a product that you just go download or anything. Although we're trying to get it there, so we could share it in that way.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I move to sponsor the amendment to the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan to incorporate the 2020 Washoe County Consensus Forecast and remove the 2018 Washoe County Consensus Forecast.
Madam Chair,
I think Commissioner Donchek beat you to the punch.
I move to second the motion. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Blako, a second by Commissioner Donchek. Any discussion for a call for a vote? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose? Motion passes unanimously. Wonderful. Let's move on to item 6C, which is a regional plan amendment. Director Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Smith for the record. Item 6C is for possible action. It's a public hearing item. Regional Plan Amendment, 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan, Appendix 4. It's RPA 20-004. Possible adoption of the RPC Resolution 20-06, providing a recommendation to the Regional Planning Governing Board regarding an amendment of the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan, Appendix 4, to incorporate the 2020 Washoe County Consensus Forecast and remove the 2018 Washoe County Consensus Forecast. And we have Regional Planner Chris Tolley to take us through this part.
Good evening. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you can see the PowerPoint. All right, good evening again, Chris Tolley, TMRPA. Thanks for the opportunity to present regarding the Regional Plan Amendment case, RPA 20-004. This Regional Plan Amendment presents an amendment to the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan to incorporate the 2020 Washoe County Consensus Forecast. This includes replacing the previously adopted 2018 Consensus Forecast in Appendix 4 with the currently adopted 2020 Consensus Forecast, and updating references to the Consensus Forecast to reflect the new population forecast values and timing to maintain alignment. Finally, regional planning staff concludes that the proposed amendment conforms with the goals and policies of the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan. As a historical note, the Consensus Forecast was accessed as a separate document prior to adoption of the 2019 Regional Plan. The decision to include it in the Regional Plan was made to improve access to the forecast values. As a result, the Regional Plan will be updated biannually, at least proposed to be updated by its staff, for the purpose of incorporating the most current version. Finally, population growth policies PG1 through PG3 provide TMRPA with general direction regarding the Consensus Forecast and for the deployment of the resulting forecast to the local jurisdictions and affected entities, which are all required to utilize the adopted Consensus Forecast. Policy RC10 identifies the 7 criteria that the RPC and RPGB must consider when evaluating a regional plan amendment. The proposed incorporation of the 2020 Washoe County Consensus Forecast and the 2019 Regional Plan is not anticipated to impact any of the criteria listed in this policy. As noted, staff found that the amendment conforms with the regional plan. So in conclusion, the previous slides presented a summary of the proposed amendment and staff's analysis. The proposed motion is listed on the slide or on page 16 of the packet. It does conclude my presentation. However, staff are available for any questions. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Do any of the commissioners have questions for staff before I open it for public comment? No questions. This is a public hearing item. So do we have anybody waiting to comment on this item?
We have not received any for this item.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the commission. Any other questions, discussion, a motion?
And Chair, I'll take a stab at it since I grilled staff on the last item.
It's right there in front of you.
Thank you. I move to adopt RPC Resolution 20-06 regarding an amendment to the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan, Appendix 4, to incorporate the 2020 Washoe County Consensus Forecast and remove the 2018 Washoe County Consensus Forecast based on the findings listed in the staff report.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Carey and a second by Commissioner Chvilicek. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Let's go ahead and move on to reports, and we'll start with the director's report. Director Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Smith, for the record. Try to keep it pretty short here. Our next meeting is slated to be either the 14th or the 28th. And much like we brought your advanced schedule last time, we always wanted to make sort of a, clearly we're having this meeting a little early in the month, and that's because of Christmas. And generally the whole holiday thing, we started in November. And so we put the 2 dates in January, just in case, we have time frames we have to hit. And if something had come in and we had to hit it by the 14th, we would do that meeting. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everything is looking good that we're just going to have to go to the 28th. We have 2 items lined up, but the time frames are correct. So your next meeting, you can expect to have the regular time, the end of the month on the 4th Thursday at 6 p.m., the 28th. So that's what that's about. Also, you may remember we brought at one point the potential to sponsor an amendment to look at boundary issues in terms of an annual review of the tiers and the TMSA boundary and whatnot. And we did actually have a boundary adjustment that we went through as part of the process for 5 ridges. There were 2 areas, the UNR farms and the Forest Service parcels that were out there that where we had suggested. What we learned from the governing board was that they didn't have an appetite to pursue those. And in fact, they were both in the city of Reno. And I believe the sentiment was, the city of Reno can bring that forward if they feel like that needs to change. And so we have not brought back any requests to sponsor any amendments or do any changes to the boundary, but it's something we're going to look at every year, no matter what, those tier boundaries and the outside boundary as well, and be providing that analysis each time we get to that kind of October review period. So just keep bringing you back up to speed on what happened and why you didn't see any of those come through. At this point, we're going to go with it forward as it is. Unless, of course, you guys have of your own mind to try to bring up something to sponsor it. We could work that out next time. Okay, so that covers that. Let's see. Oh, the updated plan. So now we're at version 4, if all goes as planned on Thursday, and they go ahead and adopt the resolution you guys have just recommended, we would be at version 4 of the regional plan. And so, it came up kind of before the meeting today. We want to make sure you guys have a paper copy or an updated copy of the plan, including the new consensus forecast. In fact, it'll get rid of a lot of extra pages that nobody reads, and we'll put this nice, beautiful forecast that Shawnee designed right in there. So what I guess I'd like you guys to do is just maybe send me an email and indicate if you'd like to have those updated pages, because we've already printed out some updates, and we can send that to you along with the new consensus forecast. And you can kind of, if you don't mind changing pages out, we could also do it for you if that's preferable. Just let us know. But we can get you updated with the plan. So please let me know if you'd like that, and we're happy to send. And then other than that, I just wanted to say I'm not going to see you until next year, probably. So have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and appreciate all your hard work through the year and making it to all these meetings and putting up with all this stuff. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy, for all the wonderful work you and the team are doing for all of us.
Thank you.
Next, we have legal counsel's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jessica Prenti for the record. I have nothing to report tonight, and I wish you a joyful and safe holiday season. I'll see you next year.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do as well.
Well, thank you.
And then we have item 8, requests for future agenda items. Are there any requests?
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Gower. I have a request of staff, and I would be curious to know, we've talked about the version of the regional plan. Be curious to know, Jeremy, if there's sort of a tracking sheet of items that you have internally of, things that you're looking out for the next version of the regional plan. I feel like there were a couple things that were brought up during the meeting tonight. For instance, a possible, addition of source water protection language to the regional plan. I also think that Commissioner Carey brought up something interesting regarding the potentially including a little bit more about the disaggregation methodology in the regional plan. I feel like as a member of the public, one wouldn't really be able to find a whole lot of that information in the regional plan. It's mentioned, but it's not really something that's clear. So I don't know if that's something that, you keep track of, or if it's something that, the commission would have to sponsor, like an amendment that would comprehensively address things like that.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. We can put that together. We are tracking, obviously, all the changes we have made, and other changes we know are coming. I totally agree with the spatial disaggregation component. Our plan was to have that more resolved, quite honestly, for this period of time in our lives, but we didn't get there. So that's something that's absolutely on the something we're working on, and we want to make sure it's as transparent as possible, because it really is something that benefits from more eyes, not less, and we're about that. Happy to bring back kind of also our take on the source water protection concept, which I think realistically will be binned with our natural resources plan and some of our infrastructure planning. That those two mechanisms or initiatives, in my mind, are the things that are going to drive us to the next plan update, to understand how we're going to input different, or how we're going to update our policies and make them more effective based on an understanding of that planning and that natural resources side. So that's the general plan, but we have an outline now of our public infrastructure investment plan, and that's the direction we're starting to go. So we'll be able to keep you updated on that path and address, I think, how that's going to play into updates to the RP.
So,
Thank you.
thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other items anybody would like to have for future agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to our last public comment. Are there any callers waiting for public comment?
Same answer I've had for the rest of them. There's no public comment for this item either.
You can only try so much.
I know.
All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to written correspondence.
I have not received any written correspondence.
All right. You said none, right?
No, there is none.
Daughter's doing the ice machine in the background.
There is none. There's none.
All right. Before we adjourn, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and New Year, and look forward to seeing you next year. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, so move. Let's adjourn and see you next year.
Happy holidays,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas.
Thank you very
Happy
much,
New Year,
everybody.
everybody. Stay safe.
Happy holidays.